This meeting is being recorded.
Should we talk about her, the annoying American woman this week?
Absolutely. Yes. Bless her. Right, I need to click because it then comes up with a great big lozenge in the middle of my screen saying that I need to continue or leave the meeting because it's being recorded. It's like, oh God, faff and hassle. We don't need it, do we?
Yes.
All right, ready to rock?
Ready to rock. Shall I
Okey-dokey.
put it on gallery view? I always forget to do that. It's probably best if it, is
Yeah.
it better on gallery view?
It is.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's do
Brilliant.
that.
All right. Okay. 3, 2, 1. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, brought to you by Sharon Gaskin of the Trainers Training Company and me, Ginette Tessier of the Get That Gang. In our weekly show, we cover news and views from our businesses along with a top-of-mind topic. Of course, it wouldn't be Trainer Talk, the podcast, without the Dog Walking Digest, and every now and again we invite a guest along to share their experience and expertise. After 90 episodes of just audio, we're now on YouTube as well. So feel free to catch up there. Just search for the Trainers Training Company or the Get That Gang, or download us on audio only through your favourite podcast streamer. So why not sit back with a cuppa, make that journey or chore go a little bit quicker with our weekly inspiration for developing your training business. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, and we're at episode number 108. 108 episodes. Goodness me, it never ceases to amaze me every week. I shouldn't be surprised by now, should I? It goes up. One every week,
Yeah.
but it still
Keep
blows
going.
it still blows my mind that we've done so many of them. Anyway, Sharon, how are you? How was your week last week?
Well, I'm okay. Just to say, lovely listeners, yet again, we are coming to you from Bank Holiday Monday.
This is true.
You know,
Yes.
because we are such sad people that we have nothing better to do than record the podcast.
Dedicated people, not sad, dedicated, that's what it is.
The sun is shining, it's about 25 degrees out there, not a cloud in the sky.
Exactly.
And what are we doing? Sitting here recording
The
the
podcast, because we're that dedicated. It's either that or
Exactly.
our diaries are both so packed that we'd have no other time during the week to do anything like this. And it's gonna be even more packed from next month, isn't it, when we start doing the clinics every week as well. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Exactly.
more on that nearer the time.
Yeah.
So come on then, what did you do last week? Any more on Wallgate? I mean, inquiring minds are desperate to know.
Yeah, anymore. I really have got no idea where we've got up to with this sad and sorry tale. But yeah, what's happened now? So we're having the work done ourselves now.
Yeah.
After the buyer declined her own proposal, basically.
I know.
So,
Just honestly, she's a sandwich short of a picnic. This lady, I'm convinced. But anyway.
Anyway, so we've decided to take it back again, and we are getting the work done ourselves. But that won't be for a couple of weeks because he's got to fit it in with other jobs and things.
Sure.
And then once, hopefully, that will be done to her satisfaction, and then she can have the survey done. So that's kind of dragging it out a little bit. But on the other house, the house that we're buying,
Yep.
so you're away from Wallgate, we're done and dusted. All ready to exchange. Obviously, we can't
Woo-hoo.
until we're ready to exchange on here.
Of course, yeah.
But how amazing is that? Big shout out. Anybody who is thinking about buying, selling a house, you have to use Avrillo, solicitors, conveyancers. They're down in London, but they do everything online. And they are just absolutely amazing. We used them last time. They were amazing then. They've been amazing this time around. They are so quick. They are
good.
unbelievable.
How did you come across them in the first place?
I think they were a recommendation from the estate agent in Droitwich when we moved last time.
Right.
And they use them for lots of things. And so, yeah, and their prices are really good as well. They don't charge a fortune. And it's just really simple things, like they have this dashboard that you can go into, and you can go into it and you can see the first thing when you go into the dashboard, you can see there are two great big wheels, like a pie chart, and it tells you 70% of steps completed or 65% of steps completed. So you can see like a snapshot of where you are.
Yeah.
And then basically they will list all the different steps that they're taking and the date.
Nice.
And not only that, you can literally then, it tells you the date and what they've done, and then you can click on the document that they've sent or received. So it's like none of this, having to ring up solicitors going, what are you doing? Have you sent this? Have you sent that? Have those people replied to this inquiry or that inquiry? You don't need to do that because it's all there. You can see it. And they are just, absolutely brilliant. So
oh, fantastic. Good.
Yeah.
It's nice when people actually do the job that you're paying them to do, isn't it? I mean,
God,
that sounds ridiculous, and it sounds like well, obviously, but especially when it comes to house moves, sometimes I think it can, make you wonder whether or not people actually want to do the job you're paying them to do sometimes, with estate agents and solicitors slowing things down so much. So it's brilliant that you found somebody that's so quick and good.
Yeah. And I remember last time as well, the lovely thing, when we moved in here about a week after, they sent us all, they'd send you a big pack of all your documents and whatnot. And then a couple of days later after that, we got this other box, and we just thought, oh God, there's more documents. And we opened this box, and it was full of chocolates and wine and sort of, and other things like, housey type things like cleaning stuff and tea and biscuits and it was just really just amazing.
That's so lovely. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's is it Maya Angelou, the famous quote about I won't remember what you said or did, but I will remember how you made me feel. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So we're really happy with that. So big shout out to them. Advertising, free advertising there.
Absolutely.
They are amazing. So very, very, very satisfied customer. So
fab.
So that's been good. Did you know the French Open had started, Ginette?
I did know. Yeah, I happened to glance and see that that was going on. I'm more actually. Was it Dan Evans who?
Oh, he lost yesterday. First round.
I know, lost in the first round, but it was Dominic Thiem, wasn't it?
He lost first round as well yesterday. Bless him.
Karma has her way. But, he had said some not very nice things about Dan Evans, so I'd heard. Or not that they weren't very nice, but more sort of backhanded, kind of passive-aggressive-y type stuff. It was reported. Yeah, he'd said something along the lines of the isolation and the procedures and everything will suit some players better because they struggle when there's other stuff going on outside of tennis, and he named Dan Evans as one of the players that struggle. Really? And I thought, well, that's not really necessary to say something like that.
Very Dominic-like either, isn't it?
No, exactly. And I thought, what's going on there then? Anyway, but they're both out, so we don't need to worry about them anymore.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, the thing is about the French Open. Well, so nice to see it yesterday in glorious sunshine.
Yep.
At the time of year that it's supposed to be, not like last year when it was in October and it was blooming freezing and raining and all the rest of it. So that's really nice. But oh my God, joke of a draw. What an absolute joke of a draw. I'm just telling you right now. So
come on.
Sorry, we're just going to diverse, but I'm just going to say, so Daniel Medvedev, right, still riding on the coattails of some good results last year, is still number 2 seed. And last week I thought Rafa would have overtaken him because he won Rome, but apparently not. There's still about 3 points between them, something ridiculous. So he is the number 2 seed, which is totally ridiculous because he's so rubbish on clay. He will literally go out in the first round, so that's a joke. So then of course then the other side of so now Rafa has been put in the same side as Djokovic, so we've got this ridiculous situation where anybody is in that side of the draw, and like the other side of the draw, well, Team's gone out now anyway. Tsitsipas, honestly, is going to just steamroller his way to the final because basically there's nobody else there, and probably Rafa and Djokovic will have to play in the semis and probably be really knackered because they'll have a 5-set match. And so don't be surprised if Cincinnati's is going to win it, I'll just say. But, joke of a draw. Joke of a draw.
I love how, and for anybody that is new to the podcast, you probably, depending on how far back you've gone already, you probably won't realise just how much of the podcast can be taken over by tennis. It's Tennis Talk, the podcast, makes a triumphant return. Now we're almost out of COVID times.
Roland Garros, people.
I know. The most important of the year, because it's the
proper
one that...
tennis.
Yeah.
Roland Garros.
I know.
Proper tennis on the clay.
I must admit, I am looking forward to having sporting events back again on the telly, so things like Wimbledon and all the rest of it. I mean, I'll probably pick up a bit of Roland Garros, but not much. It's normally sort of, watching Wimbledon and then there's the athletics that's on at the moment, and we've got the Olympics coming up later this year. I'm looking forward to having some good sport back on the TV, I must admit.
Nothing people could top that day in October last year. When, do you remember when the final, do you remember the French Open finals? Oh my God, it
Tell
was
us
one
what
of the
happened,
best days
Sharon.
of my life.
What happened? I mean, do tell, because I'm not sure we'll...
Just a small matter of, Rafa not only winning his 13th French Open, but the way he did it. He just wiped the floor with Djokovic, didn't he?
He did.
And I was messaging you going,
I know.
Oh, I can't believe this.
I know, and I could tell you again. Oh no, it's too close to. No, it's not gonna. Yes, he's done it. Oh, that was hilarious. And of course, we weren't recording the podcast at that point, so we couldn't share your joy.
Oh my God, we're sharing it now. Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
But yes, I'm afraid, even if you're not a tennis fan, even if you are a tennis fan or not, there's going to be a lot of talk about tennis coming up, which, that's just one of the joys of listening to Trainer Talk, the podcast, I'm afraid. So
Indeed.
There you go. But yeah, I did read something that the draw was stacked really badly, and you just look at it and go, huh? How do you put all of them there? And then, but anyway.
Yeah, ridiculous.
We'll see.
Total joke.
We'll see.
A joke.
A true champion will overcome, and we know that Rafa's a true champion, so it's fine.
Oh, well, absolutely. Yeah, of course he is. So,
but what about what's her face? Osaka, is it? Refusing to speak to the media?
Oh God, yeah. Well,
give me your take on that, please do.
Well, my take on that is, I'm sorry, Naomi, but you're behaving like a spoilt brat, because it's part of the job. You can't be taking your millions in prize money and then not, fulfilling the other part of the bargain, which is turning up at press conferences, giving people an insight into, the way you played and what you did and all that sort of stuff. It's just that's what fans expect. I'm sorry. So yeah.
Oh, totally. I do think there is a lot of sympathy for it. No, I know, and I do think that there is a responsibility on the elite players of any sport is to do stuff like that to encourage other people to take up the sport and to feel good about it. And it's I think the people that probably get paid the most in any sport are probably F1 drivers. Would you agree with that? And they do interviews all the time. That's it. And if they can do it on the money that they're on, then I don't think anybody else has got an excuse. And they interviewed, I was listening on the radio, I can't remember, it was a former British player, I think, who made a really good point, who said, look, she's saying she's not going to do media, but what she's actually doing is not doing the official media. She's still going on to social media. And and if she's saying that the official media is going to be detrimental to her mental health, social media is 100 times worse for people trolling and making uninformed statements and all that kind of stuff. So that argument just doesn't stack up.
And some of the things she said are not really fair on the journalists, because she painted this quite sort of appalling picture of the sort of, the questions that they ask and, the insensitivities and all the rest of it. It's not, there's no need for it, it's, and also I was listening to the tennis podcast last night and they were talking about the fact that, that the Japanese had sent out, journalists specifically And in these COVID times, you've got to have a really good reason to send a journalist off to another country.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are not travelling at the moment, but they've done this and they've taken the step to pay for all these journalists to go over to Paris. And now they're going to have nothing to write about.
I know, absolutely. It's, it's not
well,
a
they
good
will have
move.
things to write about, but they won't be,
Yeah, I know what you're saying though. Exactly. And I think the other thing as well is that, people, society as a whole, we are never going to reach a point where everybody is totally enlightened insofar as, I don't mean spiritual enlightened, what I mean is everybody is able to articulate what they want to ask or what they want to say in the best way or with the most sensitivity or the most understanding. We're never going to have that. There are always going to be sort of the main block of people having a pretty good understanding of what is okay and what isn't okay to say. You've got people at the far extreme who are much more sensitive to those things, and then people at the other extreme who are just like, what, I shouldn't say that anymore, really? Who told you that? And that's just the way it is. So I think she'd do well to take a leaf out of somebody like Andy Murray's book, who just corrects people when they get something wrong. So it was something about I can't remember the specifics, but somebody had said, I think it might have been when he won Wimbledon. And they were going on and on about, you're the first person to win Wimbledon since, and he's no, Virginia Wade. Because they were completely ignoring.
Player,
exactly. And he doesn't make a big song and dance about it. He just corrects them. And then gets on with it. And I think that's the way to bring about sort of change in people's understanding of what is and isn't acceptable. But anyway. So yes, we've had our tennis talk the podcast diversion. What else has happened in your week, Sharon? Anything for business?
Really? Well, it's just been what I would call a sort of normal week of delivery, in which there is an awful lot of it. There's obviously there was the More Than Membership course we've reached week 4 last week, and so we were talking about the money stuff, and so talking about how to, what to charge for your membership and some pricing strategies that you can use. We did that. We had a spotlight session in Trainer Talk with the lovely Alison Smith, talking about, she bringing in nature into her coaching methodology, which was quite interesting. We had a couple of, did my manageable marketing session on Wednesday morning. We were talking about LinkedIn. Surprise, it always raises its ugly head. Is LinkedIn? Yeah. I think it was Alison actually. She brought it into the conversation and said, "Is LinkedIn just a waste of time?" And we were able to talk about that. We did. What else did we do? It's Complete Trainer Friday. We had a catch up, didn't we?
We did.
Session with Denise.
Super fan Denise. Hello, Denise.
Super fan. Hello, Denise. Shout out for you. So it's just been a little bit of just no wonder I need to have a month off Zoom in August, because I tell you, I'm just constantly all these things for all these different programs and pockets all require their own kind of zooming.
They do,
don't they?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And it's a lot after a while, even if you're used to it, it's a lot. Which is why, I mean, for my part, I've not been showing up to things like 1 o'clock or anything like that, because it's just, I'm still working, and actually at the end of the week now I just don't want to be on Zoom anymore. It's just no, shut it off, it's gone. And I think both of us probably spend a lot more time on Zoom or on camera than a lot of other people anyway. I mean, I do my daily lives in the Get That Gang. You've got all your different programs and what have you going on. It's a lot, and I think sometimes you just need to sort of, right, that's it, I'm switching off the camera now, it's not happening for a little while.
Last week we were talking about that book I was reading, the Wealth Warrior by Steve Chandler. Yes. I've been reading another one of his this week, and it's all about being in the moment and living in the moment, which is something that I really, really believe in massively. But one of the things that he was talking about in there was really, again, made me sit up and take notice, was about how, just do it now. You can do anything you want to do. when you want to do it, just do it now kind of thing. And he was talking about, he was coaching somebody, and this particular coaching client was talking about the fact, I really want to get into one of these, this X type of business, and so what I really need to be doing is to come up with this strategy to kind of get inside this type of organization and what have you, and probably what I need to be doing is like picking up the phone and doing that, and he said to him, well, okay, then there's the phone, do it now. What like now? I can't. Well, there's no time like the present. There's no reason why you shouldn't do that thing now. Just do it now. And it was like this whole, and it was just like, it really made me. And so that's why when I was saying to you about when I messaged you on whenever it was Saturday, I've finished my last 2 training sessions.
Big celebration.
Because what I've been doing, I've literally been leaving it to the weekend. And then, because I don't have any Zooms and things like that, so I've got a lot of headspace, doing it the weekend, preparing it then, and then finishing that week, and then finish that one. And then next weekend, I will just kind of prepare the next week.
Yeah.
And this week, because Friday afternoon, I'd made a start on it, because my gym session was 1 o'clock and not 3 o'clock. So I had all of Friday afternoon. So I really, did a lot of it. So it meant that by Saturday, about 10:30 on Saturday, I'd finished week 5, and I thought, oh great, I can just leave it till next week. And then I thought, no, do it now.
Very good.
Why are you waiting till next week? Do it now.
Very good.
I did it now, and I managed to get rid of it. So I'm done now. I'm done and dusted. Yay. Amazing. So thank you. So just another little nugget that I picked up from that book this week. Just do it now. Stop putting things off. Because there's no reason why we don't need to come up with a strategy and I'll do it when when there's a full moon and this, that and the other, and it's Monday or whatever. Actually, a lot of the things we just benefit so much from just launching right in and just doing it now.
Completely. And interestingly, I've got a similar, I think it's a similar book. It's a similar premise, I'm sure, but I haven't started reading it yet, from Stephen Pressfield, which is Do the Work. And I mean, it's only a very slim volume thing, so it won't take me very long to read. And the irony being that I got it at least a month and a half ago, and it's been sitting there going, do the work, which is the title. Haven't picked it up yet. So there is a certain amount of, there's the siren. Hear the siren?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was us then, but no, it's you.
No, it's here. I don't know if you heard on the news, South West Ambulances have declared an emergency in Dorset because they had something ridiculous like 3,200 call-outs on Saturday. And really? I'm sort of, and I was talking to Mum about it, and she was saying, well, that's ridiculous. Why are there so many things? I said, I can't believe nobody has thought about this. It's the first bank holiday weekend after restrictions have been eased. It's nice weather. It's the start of half term. Did nobody think that this was going to cause more people to be out on the roads or doing stupid things because it's nice weather and nothing happens when you're on holiday, does it? All of that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm not surprised they've got more call-outs. And did nobody see this coming? Is that... Seriously? Anyway, I digress. So this book that is all about just getting on and doing it is ironically the thing that I haven't actually picked up and got on with. There are many things, as we know from blog experience on my to-do list, that I haven't actually got on with. So I think I do need to actually, I know why I bought it. I bought it because I needed kind of that jolt of, yes, absolutely, I need to get on with it. So it's great that you're saying, get on with it, just do it. And you have that benefit from it as well.
Yeah. So that all good stuff. So that was me, really.
Okay. All right. So last week I had a few bits and pieces going on, but the biggest thing really was it was great. I was able to see our fellow trainer talker Christine Morrison. She came down to Bournemouth for a couple of days. So one of the things that I helped Christine with last year, and it was between lockdowns, so we were allowed to do it, although we weren't allowed to have a hug, which we were allowed to do this time, which was wonderful. But she has a couple of clients for whom, several now, for whom she provides online courses, and she prefers that the creation process. She likes me to film it for her and then do all the editing, and she's in her mind, she doesn't enjoy doing it, she doesn't really know how to do it, she doesn't really want to do it, so why wouldn't she pay somebody else to do it for her? And it's great because it's something that I do enjoy doing. I've got all the equipment to do it, so it's fantastic. And because we'd had the experience of doing it before, doing it this time around, it wasn't a completely new course. Much easier, because we're just sort of altering and changing bits of the previous one to suit the new client that it's for. So there's quite a bit of work that I've still got to do, even though we've had a couple of days of filming and that kind of thing. But it was great because I could see, and I know she won't mind me saying this, but I could see how much better she is now at doing things like re-recording voiceovers than when we first did it, because she's very nervous when we first did it, because it's a new thing. It was a new skill, whereas now it's just like, right, do it. Just do it, just get on with it. And that was great. I mean, it still took slightly longer than ideally, so we still had a few bits to do after we'd done book club on Wednesday evening, which was fun, even though half the people that were supposed to turn up forgot.
I thought it was next week.
Sharon Gaskin.
I've literally got the prove it to you. There you go.
There's the book.
Got the book, people. And I thought, I can read that at the weekend, because now I've got rid of my post prep.
I know.
I'll speed read you that at the weekend, and then
you're too late.
You've already done it. Okay.
It's going to have to go on your list now. You're going to have to let me know what you think.
I know.
But it was really interesting, and it was still, we still had a small but perfectly formed group, which was great, and we had a really good discussion, and as you can with a smaller group, the discussion sort of started on the book. We kind of got that out of the way fairly quickly because there were only 4 of us, and then went into a whole wide range of other bits and pieces, and fiction as well, and just recommendations flying around all over the place. It was fabulous. It was absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. So so that was really good. Really cool experience to do it with somebody sitting next to you, as opposed to just looking at them on the screen. So that was lovely. Really enjoyed that. And then sort of the rest of the week was just sort of doing other bits and pieces and catching up with things and getting stuff out the way. There are a couple of 3 websites that I'm working on at the moment that are in their final stages, and it's just the odd snaggy bits to sort out. And some of them, some of the bits you can do straight away, and then other bits it takes a little bit more time to think about and all the rest of it. And I was hoping to get them out of the way so that I could invoice before the end of the month. And I thought, well, what difference does it make, really? I mean, I've already paid everything I need to pay for last month. I'll just invoice them next week. And I was thinking, but it's about bank holiday. But so fine, well, it'll be a nice start to June then, won't it? To send those invoices off. It's all going to come in at some point. So that was really cool. And then at the weekend, what was lovely was we saw John's son and his wife and 2 boys came over on their way through to Devon just for a few days to stay in Beth's parents. So Beth is John's daughter-in-law, step-sister-in-law to me. It all gets very confusing. Anyway, so it's her parents. They have a property in Honiton in Devon, so they're just going to go and spend a few days there. So they came by us on the way through. So that was lovely because they haven't seen the boys, and the boys now are 9 and 7, something like that. So it was really funny what they remembered about coming back, because they haven't been to the house for more than a year, easily more than a year, of course, with Corona and everything like that. And the first thing little Isaac said when he came in was that he remembered playing on my iPad, but neither of them could remember where the toilet was in the house. And it's like, well, priorities at that age, clearly.
Yeah.
But that was lovely. That was really nice. And then his John's daughter and her partner and her daughter are going to come down next weekend. So we'll see them, which is really cool.
Oh.
What?
So can you go inside people's houses? You see, we can't here. Yeah, and this is what I see all these, people, because our friends, obviously from Manchester, they still can't come down here.
Yeah, six people from 2 households are allowed indoors now. Yeah,
see, not here. Come on, Wales.
Well, I mean, another couple of weeks, and I mean, depending on what happens with all the indications and the Indian variant, who knows? Who blooming knows? So
who
just
knows?
taking advantage of what we can while we can. So we're thinking of having a barbecue next weekend because the weather forecast is so good at the moment. Hurrah! The sun is out at last.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, at least Boris has got married. That's all I have to say. God.
Honestly, do you know what? It's one of those things where you just look at it and go, why? They got engaged last year, I understand that. They've had the baby. There's no burning platform here. So what is the point of getting married now as opposed to doing it next year or when restrictions are eased and all the rest of it? Why would you choose to get married now? When you're living together and all the rest of it. Unless there's a political motive to it.
Yeah, indeed. It's all very big, but it just always makes me smile. I had this whole conversation yesterday about, why is it that men with money and power, why do they always get married to women who are like at least 20 years younger than them?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
It's like, what,
we could have a whole podcast about that one.
Exactly. It's just always the same though, isn't it? It's always the same. Exactly. Anyway, I digress. As you say, we could
feel like being ranty this week. Don't make me ranty this week. I don't want to be ranty this week. It's a bank holiday. Let's just make it nice.
Well, it's the pattern you see repeated all the time, don't you? It always makes me. It's like seeing normal people. With a partner who's 25 years their age, you just never see that, do you? Now, I wonder what the common denominator is there.
Absolutely. I do have one counterexample for that.
It might be the odd one, but it's not standard.
This is true. All right then. All right. Well,
anyway,
let's move away from politics. Shall we talk about our top of mind? Shall we go there?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, we kind of alluded to it last week, didn't we?
Yes.
A little teaser.
We did.
Because we were talking about the fact that I didn't turn up for Michael Neal's lovely weekend last week, and how I kind of felt bad about it. And I said I don't want to be one of those people who signs up for courses and then doesn't turn up for things. And we said maybe we'll kind of talk about that because there are 2 ways of looking at it. Why is it that people do that as a participant? Why would you spend all that money on a course and then not, turn up live or even watch the recordings, just not do anything? Because I'm sure there are people out there that do that. But then when you're the person running the course, what impact does that have on you when you've got people you've taken their money, it's sitting in your bank account, okay, but it's not always about that. You want people to come into the course and get the value of the thing that they've they've invested in.
Totally.
So as a course creator, you often feel that you're not fulfilling your part of the bargain. But it's not actually anything to do with you, but you feel it, don't you? So So let's start with, first of all, why do people not, have you ever, Ginette, not completed a course?
Yeah, loads. Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah, totally. But I think, this is one of those things where There are lots of ways to talk about it, and there are lots of ways to use it as a reason to do something or not to do something. And let me unpack that a little bit. So a commonly sort of thrown around statistic by people who are arguing against things like online courses, bless you, online courses, whether they are there's not so much evidence around virtual live training, but certainly around pre-recorded online courses. People who are arguing against them as being an effective method of training or teaching people how to do something will very often throw around the statistic that only 8% of online courses are ever completed. Now, that stat has been repeated over and over and over, and nobody really knows where it first came from. That's the first thing to say. The second thing to say is there are literally now millions of online courses in the world. Literally. And that has exploded over the last 3 or 4 years. When I first started talking about it, there were still hundreds of thousands of online courses out there. So you can imagine that the range of quality in those things is going to be quite vast, from the literally all somebody's done is plonk an ebook online and call it an online course, through to the absolute best of the best, the world's most popular online course, which is through Coursera, called Learning How to Learn. That one, millions of people have taken that, or at least have enrolled in that. Now, that's an example of course that I've enrolled in but haven't completed. And it's one of those things where you have to understand. Well, I mean, I call it the online course taker's mantra. This is something that I've created to help people understand how to create their online course and how to make it in an effective and engaging process so that people do want to complete it. But there are tons of reasons why people don't complete courses, and I think you need to think about, okay, where does your course fit in the overall scheme of things, and in terms of where somebody's at in their life and what they're trying to do, because it's like any of these things, and particularly I think when we get to adulthood, we kind of fall out of the habit of learning. Now, for some of us, we get into it or we stay in it, and that's fine. But for a lot of people, they kind of reach a point in their life where they think that their school days are over. So when they think about taking on a new course or something like that, they don't want it to be as hard work as it was when you were at school, when you had somebody standing over you, literally saying, do this now, do that now, do the other now, or you had homework and you got into trouble if you didn't do your homework. It's not necessarily like that now when you are learning as an adult, so you have to be much more self-motivated to get through something. But also, it's not as simple as saying, if somebody doesn't complete your course isn't good enough. It's absolutely not as simple as that, because there are many, many reasons why people don't complete courses. So again, with the caveat that this is more about pre-recorded than virtual live, but I think the same thing applies to both. I think there are people who take courses because they only need one bit of what they're going to get. I think there are people who are incredibly motivated to begin with, but then life happens, and for whatever reason, it's just not a priority for them, or not a priority for now. I think that there are other things. I mean, I've got a couple of courses that I haven't yet started, which actually, technology has overtaken where that information and that access to that information is at now. So I probably won't ever actually take the course that I bought into, but I know that I wanted to do it at the time, and it's nothing against the course instructor either. I wanted to do it at the time, but life, it happened, took over, got in the way, and then my priorities shifted, or what I needed shifted, or the rest of it. And sometimes it's just nice to know that it's there, just in case things kind of come back online again. But again, I think there is also a difference between a smaller investment and a bigger investment, and I think you are more likely to complete a bigger investment. All that said, I think as well, there are other courses that can be a big investment that you can go through once, and then if the instructor adds in new material or updated material and that kind of thing, your percentages go down again, so it looks like you haven't completed it, but actually you have gone through it the first time around. It's just you haven't read the updated version or something like that. Or again, life has moved on since you first took it. your priorities are different, and you come back to those principles. There are other courses where I know that I will go back to again and again and again over the course of 5-10 years easily.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and I'm a bit funny, like with my attitude towards reading. I very, very, very rarely will not finish a book, even though I'm thinking, oh, I'm not enjoying this book or whatever. There's something about, I feel I have to at least get to the end of it. And very, very rare that I won't finish a book. It has to be really, really bad for me not to finish it. But and I'm the same with courses. I kind of, that I am like a dog, I will finish it. Even while I'm going through it, and I'm telling myself, like, I'm never going to use this. I'm not, but at least I've finished it, and at least I've kind of made that decision. Kind of, now I might not finish it at the time. It might still, as you say, but I have lots of courses in my sort of course folder that I will guarantee I will go through, and I will finish absolutely every single one, because I'm just that way out. Even though I know it's not for me or whatever.
Yeah, and that is quite rare.
I know. I'm weird. I told you I was weird.
Well, I think it's one of those things where I think, if we flip it now and talk about it from the person who has created the course, I think it's one of the most important lessons to learn, is that not everybody that buys your course is going to go through it. And there's just, there's nothing you can do about it, and it's almost a rite of passage to have people buy it, and then you go, look, I know this thing can help you, but you're still not doing it. Okay, well, my job here is done, because I have literally put everything on a plate for you, and if you're still not doing it, then that's you. I'm not responsible for other people's decisions in that respect. But it can be, I think, when you have created something, and I think there are probably, there's more shades of grey, but I think there are two types of program creator, online training creator. I think there are people who are like trainers, who genuinely want to have people go through it so that they can have light bulb moments, because the thing that spurs us on are the light bulb moments, and seeing those light bulb moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. And then there are other people for whom you're just a number. And they've put the course out there, they've done it all, it's like, well, take it, don't take it, I don't care, I've got your money. And yes, there are, lots of different sort of bits in between all of that, but absolutely there are, I think as trainers, I think we are much more likely to be in the camp of people who take it quite personally if people don't complete our material, because it feels like we've done something wrong, or it feels like we haven't done as much as we could do to make it a great learning experience, and that's just not the case. It really isn't. There are always things that we can do better, and certainly particularly for online courses and for virtual live training, when you're first starting out, you're not going to be as good as you are after you're sort of 5, 10, 15, 20 down the road. That's just the way it is. But still, I think you shouldn't be too quick to beat yourself up if people aren't completing something that you've done, or even starting something that you've done. And we've got experience of that with Complete Trainer. We've got people who have paid for that and not even opened any of the modules. And it's just like, okay, I don't personally understand why you would pay for something like that. And we're not, Complete Trainer is not a $49 course. This is at least £1,000. And sorry for mixing my currencies there, but some people will pay for something with all the good intentions of doing that thing, and then life. And it's not our fault. It's not that it's rubbish material.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And if people, do that, and as I say, I've done that. I bought courses at the time. I bought courses sometimes. I know I haven't got the time right now to delve into it, but I'll just buy it while it's on offer or whatever, so that I can have it, and I'll know, particularly in the winter time, when it's going dark at 4 o'clock on a Saturday. Guess what? I'll be going through all those courses. Completely. So there is some of that, but I think going back to this, wanting people to have those light bulb moments, I think that's probably the real reason why, or one of the reasons why I like to do my courses live, because when you don't do them live, when you do them live, at least you've got, if people turn up, then you've got that opportunity to see how they're progressing, and to, you know, to have them tell you about those light bulb moments, and you've got that opportunity to really, you know, dive in and help them. But when it's just you don't have that live element, and it's all pre-recorded, and it's here's your login and go off and do it, you never see them, and you just don't know what they're doing, and you know, unless they choose to tell you. Do you know? It's
I mean, there are ways of building in you know, little gates and that kind of thing, to get them to check in and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, that is one of those things that you have to kind of rely on people to be grown-ups about it, and take responsibility for their own learning. You know, I do think that's why you know, it pays to understand the relative strengths and weaknesses of face-to-face, virtual, live and online courses, because they all work really brilliantly in different scenarios. They can all deliver for every training scenario, but some of them will deliver better than others for different things, and it depends what your learning objectives are. It depends what you need people to get out of it. It depends whether or not you're offering any accreditation, for example, so people have to prove that they've done the learning. If people don't have to prove that they've done the learning, then you know, you can leave them to get on with it and leave them to their own devices. The place that it hurts you is when you're looking for testimonials and social proof from people. It's much easier to get that from a live program than it is from a pre-recorded course, but you know, that's why you do it the way I teach, which is making sure you have some kind of beta program in there, so you can get some social proof from people, and then as time goes on and you get more people going through the course, you will get unsolicited testimonials. Well, I say unsolicited, you always ask for a testimonial, but you will get surprise testimonials come through from people that you don't know, you know, and I've been fortunate to have some of those in my time, where you just sort of, you get complete strangers to you have gone through your material, and there's nothing like that feeling to get.
Oh my God, somebody put a comment on, somebody left a comment on YouTube the other day, not about our podcast, but about one of the manageable marketing, not even the full thing, just the snippet. So you put the 2.5 minute snippet on there. She put this great massive comment on there about how it was so useful, and LinkedIn and her experience and all that kind of.
There you go.
Yeah, it was lovely. You know, it was lovely when that happens, isn't it? Unsolicited, just
completely.
Right.
And you just, I mean, our job then is to just make it easy for people to do that. It's not to try and force it. It's not to try and, you know, whip them into finishing the course and giving us a testimonial or whatever it might be. Our job is just to make it as easy as it possibly can be for them to consume the material and to do something about it. And that's it. That is the limit of our responsibility. And I think if we try to assume responsibility for any more than that, then it's just going to end up biting us in the bum, frankly. So, you know, but it's an interesting one, and I would say above all else, don't take any notice of any statistics around course completion and that kind of thing. You know, you if you start by thinking about creating something that is going to solve a problem your target audience actively have right now, then you'll be fine. Absolutely fine. There we are.
Good advice. There we are.
Brilliant. All right then, so Dog Walking Digest, how's Gemalicious?
Oh, Gemalicious, well, she's been back to the vets, because obviously we had that little episode last weekend, and I told you about, you know, the bleeding episode. To resolve it, so I took her back to the vet Thursday because she had to have her vaccinations, and they checked her over again and said they couldn't see any obvious reason, gave her vaccinations, but only half of them, because the other half has got to have another 4-week gap, so that's another trip back there in another 4 weeks. But other than that, you know, she's you know, seems to be all right. She's flat out at the moment over there. Not on her chair, obviously a bit too hot on her chair with a blanket and everything. So, but no, she's she's just she's pretty good at the moment.
Good,
she's really good. Out on the walks, the sheep are still around. Oh my God, it's like I I don't get it. I worry about them every day. I see them. I think, well, you're going to get yourself knocked over. They just wander around everywhere. But apparently that's just what they do. And, I was asking Ian, my trainer, I was saying, what's with the sheep? And he said, yeah, they just hang around at this time of year every year. And, with all their little lambs.
Yeah.
Wow. And I said, what? Do any of them get knocked over? And he went, yeah. And I'm like,
oh dear.
It's kind of, I don't want to I don't want to witness any of that, thank you. So but they're very cute. It is lovely to sort of see them so close up when you're out walking, and they're just all there, they just look at you and what have you. But then I do worry about them when they're close to the road. It's
yeah, absolutely. Well, it's like the New Forest ponies just down the road from me.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Totally.
They're just people's gardens and on the road and and houses.
Yeah,
and,
they go wherever they want to go, and occasionally, unfortunately, they get run over. But so yes. Okie dokie. But she's all right in herself, and
she's all right in herself at the moment.
Good.
Yes.
Good news. That's all right then. So we've got yesterday actually is the thing that I wanted to talk about, the Dog Walking Digest. So two things. As we know, all dogs have their little dreams and what have you, but the funniest thing is that if Scamp is dreaming and Copper's within earshot, the noises Scamp makes make Copper react, which in turn makes Scamp react, and then they're both like what like this, and it's just like, oh god, it just started with a dream. Now yesterday morning, so Scamp started having a dream, and Copper was obviously outside the bedroom door on the landing, so Scamp started off with these little whimpers and like this, to which Copper reacted and then started howling, to which Scamp then reacted whilst still asleep and ended up barking in his sleep, which woke him up. And then I hear Mum take Copper into their bedroom, and Scamp's awake going, what's going on? Like this, you don't worry about it, mate. And it's too early. Please go back to sleep, because I don't want to have to wake up properly at the moment. So that was that one. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, we're all awake now. Brilliant. And then yesterday late morning, sort of lunchtime-ish, we took them for a long walk. We both got new water bottles for dogs. You know, the ones where you can have a little contraption and they end up creating a bowl or a trough for them to drink out of. Both forgot to take them with us, which was ridiculous. But anyway, we did a new-ish walk that we found. But at one point, we know that obviously it's middle of the countryside, so there's wildlife everywhere. Scamp has had previous escapades chasing deer and that kind of thing. But yesterday, we saw a hare running sort of across like this. We don't think he'd seen it, but silly, I don't know why I didn't think about this. I forgot to put him on the lead, and then all of a sudden Mum and I are just sort of walking kind of single file around the edge of this field and just trumpeting along, and a streak of white going past, and then I sort of see this go past, and as I look in the distance there's this hare going flat out. It's like, oh no, I've lost the dog for at least an hour and a half now. And luckily it went into a field of I think oilseed, rape oilseed, and so luckily it was quite densely packed, so I'm sort of running after and sort of standing where I think he went in there, and he came out literally within seconds, that I'd arrived, because I had visions of having to stand in the heat, just waiting for him to sort of pop out wherever he was going to pop out in the field somewhere, and it was quite high as well, so and I couldn't see it rustling or anything like that. So that was adventure number one. And then we'd sort of done our little walk around. Luckily we found a muddy puddle that hadn't quite dried up, so he got some water. Copper was just, no, don't want that, thank you. But Scamp took a drink, and it's a big loop, so you actually end up coming back through the field. There's a hole, it's called the Long Gallop, and it's a proper bridle way. So we walk through, and we're just walking along, then all of a sudden I look behind it, where is he? And he's dived back into these plants. And I'm going, oh no, I definitely can't see him now because I don't know where he went in. So, Mum and I have played this game before. So she stays where we are. We're both calling and I'm getting further away calling, thinking, right, he was behind us somehow. So he'll come out sooner or later. And again, luckily, within just seconds, he sort of popped out and then come belting towards me. He's like, look, here I am, give you a treat kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I'm going to give you a treat and put you on the lead, mate. Sorry about that. So for the rest of the walk, he was like, I know when he wants to be let off the lead because he'll sort of stand there and he'll kind of look at me like this. Like, no, you're not coming off. Not until we get back into the place where I know that I can relatively control you. But even so, he does like having his little adventures. So we're walking back down the normal sort of farmland by the hedges, and then he disappears again, and I know exactly where he's gone. He's gone behind one of the hedges because what he likes to do is go behind the hedge and then run the length and come out the other end. It's like, surprise, but I managed to catch him before he got too far. It's like, oh god, 3 adventures in one walk, and it was hot enough as it was, the first hot walk of the year, but got him home. So yes, I don't doubt that there will be more of that sort of ilk coming over the course of this summer, but never mind. It could have been worse. Definitely.
Okay.
All right, are we done? Is that us?
I think we're done on this bank holiday Monday.
I know. Job ticked. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you as normal. Lovely listeners, lovely viewers, for your time and patience in listening to us on what will not be a bank holiday by the time you get this. But I hope you had a good one all the same. As usual, please do get in touch with us if you have any comments about what you've heard in the podcast today, or if there's anything that in particular that you would like us to consider for top of mind. We're always happy to receive those sorts of ideas. But take care, have a good one, and we'll speak to you again next week.
See you soon. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.